Okay, so or you come over and he just takes the mic away. So I was so excited to want to do this because I believe that what Jason said, that this is about leadership. It is about leadership, and I never believed in any associations when I was involved in other things. I wasn't thinking about it, but many of you know who have been here after 9/11. Okay, we started something called the Convention Exhibit Meeting Coalition, and we put together a team of 400 people who worked tirelessly almost for 6 months after 9/11 to help bring the city back. How many people here were involved in that? I mean, there's a lot of people here that were involved in it. It was called CB. And it made me realize the importance of leadership and the importance of getting involved in your community. And it was probably one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done. And it taught me that if you give, you're going to get back. And it's that rule of nature that really works. And so we're here today to talk about leadership and getting people involved. Whether you're involved or your company is involved or the people in your company involved, encouraging them to get to be part of the community, to peek over the fence to see what other people are doing is more important than you can ever imagine. So we're going to start with the elevator pitch. If I had a little cheat sheet when I got involved in this industry to figure out what the initials meant to everything, it would be a lot easier. Because I felt embarrassed to ask, I don't know what site is or PCMA. Everybody talks in jargon, and we really don't understand any of it, right? Until you sort of get it translated. So we're going to go down the line. We're going to start with Tom, and he's going to talk about MPI in the elevator pitch for 30 seconds. All right, Diane. You're going to talk about MPI.
I'm going to make up something. I'm actually going to talk about the CIC.
Oh, new initials.
Yes. I'm actually going to introduce many of you to your parent of the whole umbrella of all 33 acronyms, which is called the Convention Industry Council, CIC.org. I'm also going to introduce to you that last year was their first North American Meetings Industry Day. And this year it's Global Meetings Industry Day in the spring. So stay tuned.
So what does it do?
The Convention Industry Council is the ruling and governing body of all 33 acronyms within the hospitality and tourism
and
events, meetings, MICE industry.
Okay.
So they're the ones that make the accreditations for CMP, CMM, and all of the fancy initials.
Okay, decent.
Good job, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to ask everyone, how many people are members of any of these organizations? Let me go the other way. How many people are not members of any of these organizations? Okay. And so your job is to convince them to join your organization. And actually, you're not talking to them, but this is social media world. You're really talking to them and their 17 friends and their 17 friends and their 17 friends. So this is the pitch to do that. And so I want to start first with go around the horn on what are the benefits of being a member. What's a personal benefit of being a member? Oh yeah, we need the microphone. I don't know, you're going to talk the benefits of CIC or CMP, or I have no control over her. Anybody that?
I'm going to my 30 seconds I have. So I get more. All right, so I'm going to say this. The second I started in this industry, one of my first phone calls was to Richard Aaron to say, who are you? Let's have lunch, because I heard your name. The second one was, what kind of association is there? Joined MPI, became involved in membership, because just like David said, you get out of something what you put in it. And I don't understand the concept of a clique. I challenge you to make your own cliques. I challenge you to go up to the David Adlers, go up to Lynn Silver.
I would be scared shitless to do that. Why? I'm shy.
Well, you know what? No one, you don't.
You're not. Everybody's not like you.
No, I know that. But if you don't say hello and start a conversation, you don't.
I think but it takes a lot to do that.
I get that. But that's my contribution, is to say hello to the person next to you right now. Yeah. All right?
Men don't even want to ask, like sit in a room and have eye contact with the person next to them.
I get that. And I'll tell you this, when I teach at NYU, which I've been teaching for 29 years at NYU, event management. And in my classes, every week I ask everyone to shake hands with one another. So you do get out what you put in, but you do have to participate. Jackie's participated her whole life in things. Everyone in the world knows Jacqueline.
Well, you know, though, the event industry now is no longer about sell and tell. It's about ask and engage, as we all know. And that we're now all participants
I just, the most important thing I want to say is this, is that nobody hires you because of, you should hire me because I'm really creative. Nobody hires you because of that. You build friendships, you build credibility, you build trust with one another, you build friendships, and that's how you build your business and your career.
I had the privilege of working with the State Department for the last 6 years, and one of the jobs was to raise $21 million for the 8th floor of the State Department as a museum. And so what can we do? We can do anything we want. So we decided to have Charlie Rose interview Hillary Clinton and Henry Kissinger together. And the one thing I learned about our business from that discussion was when Henry Kissinger said to Hillary, you know, Hillary, I can't do a Henry Kissinger accent, that you're drinking from a fire hose every day. All you are doing is spending your intellectual capital. You cannot make decisions. You have to take time to build your intellectual capital. And that he says he takes time off all the time to go to conferences, to go to meetings, to study and learn. And what these associations do are a way to build your intellectual capital. And I learned that, I thought, that's the reason we do conferences. And it was really an eye-opening thing for me. So, so that's my advice to why you should also get involved. We have heard about networking, we heard about taking a leadership role, we talk about building your intellectual capital in your niche, which is pretty fantastic. Now I want to go and sort of touch a little bit on the economic aspects of this. Like, what does it cost to join, and why is it worth it, and how do you pitch your boss to get to be a member? I mean, why spend the money to do it? What crosses the Rubicon to get you there? And talk a little bit about why it was worth it and how you actually got your company, your organization to pay for it. Because most of these are paid for by companies, yes or no? Most of the companies are paying for us. So how do you convince your, well, if you're an individual entrepreneur, your company's paying for it, but you've got to make the decision whether it's worth it or not. So you're voting with your dollars in this. So this is kind of the little bit of the tough question. Tom, you want to give it a shot? The actual bridge to cross is getting the YEP members to want to, or talk to their companies into getting the memberships in the bigger organizations, right? I mean, that seems to me like there is a niche for the YEP because they're sort of training wheels for event organizers or people in the industry, and we need to somehow get them to step up, right? Diane, I don't know what you're going to say.
Well,
whatever it is,
okay, so I have a question. So how, is YEP and WEM only indigenous to New York? Or where are the other?
No, right now it's in the Manhattan area.
So it's a club.
But let me point out one thing. You know, I get to see the whole world, so it's sort of interesting. Metro, what's the name of the organization in Washington?
Metro DC.
Metro DC.
No.
Metro DC is a threat to the association world in that market right now because they are offering services that an association does without the real meat of an association. So I think it's sort of a challenging time, which we're going to get into that a little bit as well.
Right.
Go ahead.
I mean, and I only say that I'm just education because, you know, I love what you're doing, and I totally respect what you're doing, but it's hard to compare apples to
Right.
oranges is what I'm, so the organizations like MPI, HSMA, I mean, they are part of a bigger picture. And a lot of the dues go into that international management entity, which then takes the monies and invests it in different ways. And this is the one thing I will say is that this year was the first year, and this was announced at the MPI WEC conference in San Francisco. This was the first year that Congress recognized meeting and event planning. Period. This year. And Janet Spearstead, who some of you know, was actually given an award for spearheading this. No, I didn't mean to say that word with her name. You know how you say that, Spearstead and spearheading. So Janet was given that to accept this award, but I want you to understand that this is the first year in over 35 or 40 years that, so these dues have paid for people to work with Capitol Hill to get our voice heard from the government. That's my country.
Good, thank you.
All right.
Well said.
HSMA on learning is we're going much more global, and everybody around the world is doing exactly the same thing that we're doing. And so that's really interesting. So, okay, so but then we have all these events that you do together, right? How do you guys work together? I go to Christmas parties and it's everybody together, so why not just have one big organization? What's your answer to that, Tom? The hot seat, Mr. Vice President of the class of what?
High school or college?
Oh my God. College. What college?
03.
03. And then what, were you the vice president in college too?
No, I was president of my fraternity.
President of your fraternity. Now we're really getting to that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what everybody's doing together. Let's talk about collaboration, because we are all in one industry and we're all have the same goals. And to me the goal is to get people to collaborate, to have conversations and change the world. Yeah, that's why I think that the idea of using YEP as a theater organization and a gateway, leaning into this, I always believe in leaning into millennials, because when boomers lean into millennials and they leave their ego at the door on both sides, it's magical. And I have a lot of millennials working with me, and I think they're the smartest generation coming, even much smarter than we are, and. That's my pitch for millennials.
Yeah, there's no membership fee in there's no membership fee in WAM, but their students are always welcome, and we encourage leadership positions. We encourage people to take on leadership roles and
you
do
take
something.
volunteers for all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
I know that all of us take volunteers, right? Yes. Volunteers are the secret weapon of New York City. And when we do our trade shows, we get 70, 80 volunteers at a pop. So, and other events get lots of volunteers, and it's really an amazing way to recruit people who want to get in the industry. It's the other thing I tell people when they want to get in. Volunteer for something.
Yes.
For something.
Yes.
Jack, I mean, no.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
I confuse them.
So the only thing my only comment with this topic is that knowing the leadership in a lot of the organizations that are here and the ones that aren't here, like David mentioned, IAEE, I've done consulting work for a lot of them over the past couple of years. The universal conversation is, how do we attract the millennials? How do we attract the young people to our organization? So they want the younger people because they need the younger people. The younger people are the ones that, and the millennials, you're the ones that are going to propagate everything. So it's a matter of, yeah, educate yourself, and I'm all for choices, and I know it's a generation of defining what's right for you, and I think that's great. But sometimes you don't know what's right for you until you get involved. And I never knew I was going to be here, so who knew? You just kind of follow one day at a time. We love to have
So maybe there's some interesting thing about our discussion at the table and here about using YEP to be a feeder organization for your mentoring programs, which would be a great connection. And we see that, I think that we appreciate that YEP is hosting this, which shows tremendous initiative on their part to even think about this idea. So I congratulate them for that. And I want to open up for anyone have questions out there.